Like, we might get this rematch 3 months later. Like, goddamn, boxing has been good to us. There's been a lot to eat, and it's tasty. It's been a good year. It's been a good year, man.
All right, welcome to another episode of Two Fight Fans, where we talk about all things in combat sports. I'm one fight fan, Colin.
Listen up, Chuckle Fucks. If you didn't think Bivol was one of the best fights of the year, you're crazy. I'm a true fight fan, Stuart.
All right. Well, let's get right into it then. So, Stu, as the true fight fan, tell me,
Yeah.
what did you think when you were sitting watching this live in the afternoon on Saturday?
Well, listen. My beautiful wife and I have been together for 13 years, and we've been married for 5 of those 13.
Whoa, have you guys been together that long? Wow.
Yeah, we
have.
have.
All right. That's beautiful. That's beautiful.
It is beautiful. And so I didn't watch the fight at all until this morning because I had things to take care of this weekend. We went out to a lovely restaurant. Shout out Little Jumbo in Victoria because its bullshit landlord is upping its rent by 40%. So we went to their closing weekend. Anyway, fuck off. Betterbiev Bivol, an amazing fight. Extremely high-level skill, back and forth the whole way through. This is the best boxing can give. It wasn't the slobber knocker and kind of the massive changes in momentum that we saw from Usyk and Fury, but still an overall masterclass of boxing. Colin, how did you score this fight?
So I actually had Bivol winning. I thought Bivol did enough to get the decision win. And actually, here's the thing.
How many rounds? 7-5, 8-4?
I think because I haven't watched the whole first half still yet. I saw clips and highlights here and there.
Jesus Christ.
But the second half I watched entirely, and while I did feel that Betterbiev was getting better as the fight progressed, based on what I had seen and what I was hearing and what I read later on, I thought Bivol had done enough to get a decision, whether that was 7-5 or whatnot. But then okay, here's the thing. I thought it was very clear that Bivol had won, and I was like, okay, that's fine. So as soon as it came to a decision, I changed it to the MMA fight and didn't know that Betterbiev won until the next day.
You fool. No, just to get the scoring out of the way, scoring it real time for myself, knowing that I had gone to decision but not knowing who won, I had scored at 7-5 Betterbiev. Okay. I would have been totally fine with 6-6, or 7-5 Bivol, maybe. 8-4 is a little egregious, but I think I would trend much more 6-6 or 7-5 Betterbiev.
Okay.
Mostly because in watching this fight, what I noticed was that Betterbiev would be doing a ton of fantastic work during the rounds that he supposedly lost. He'd be jabbing to the body, jabbing to the head, doubling up on the jab, hooking off the jab, ducking and landing decent shots that actually made movement. And as much as people kept being well, Bivol's the matador and moving around, Betterbiev was controlling, and ring generalship is part of the scoring criteria in boxing. And I thought he did a better job across frantically, 8 or 9 rounds of ring generalship. Now, his defense maybe in some rounds wasn't as good as Bivol, but anyway, overall, I thought the right man won. But I would have been fine if this was a draw overall. What this really shows me is that there has to be an immediate rematch. Yeah. This was an ultra high level fight and super entertaining. Also, let's give shouts to Bivol, even though I thought he lost. And had 12 rounds with Betterbiev as a professional ever, and he did it. And he did it in an ultra close fight that 7-5 for Bivol. Maybe if I squinted, he could do it. I thought there were clear 4 rounds for Bivol, a clear 5 rounds for Betterbiev. So the question is, what do you do with those last 3 rounds? And every time I watch them, I'm like, I think Betterbiev probably gets them, and I could see one going for Bivol. So 7-5 Betterbiev was my score.
Okay. Okay.
I thought a phenomenal fight, an ultra high level fight where every tiny nuance change between their foot placement and just like the variety of jabs that they each threw and the speed at which and the intensity at which they threw it was like so small in like kind of like oscillation that I was like, wow, they're changing just micro things about themselves, which was such a stark contrast to. We'll get to Royval and Taira fight afterwards, but I was like, hey Taira, you gotta have head movement, my man. Like, there's a big change you could make that would help change this fight. But Betterbiev Bivol, a fantastic fight, I thought. Yeah, phenomenal.
Yeah. No, I think it was still a really good fight regardless. And yeah, I mean, here's the thing. They also, you said that, they both have mandatory defense, like challengers lined up. And, we've got
Well,
Benavidez
no,
coming up as
did we see Benavidez and I can't remember the guy's name, who was another mandatory. They're gonna fight each other in March instead.
Oh, when was that announced?
Like a week or two ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it frees up Betterbiev and Bivol to take the rematch because it sounds like Tricky Sheik wants it. And then or if we want, look, what I really want, Betterbiev and Usyk fought each other in the Olympics at heavyweight. Why not have Usyk drop down to cruiserweight, or Betterbiev move up to heavyweight and have Usyk and Betterbiev fight again? Come on. I hear your hesitation.
No, I'd be up with that, because I mean, because okay, that means Betterbiev is moving up, Usyk is moving back down, but Usyk is already kind of undersized for the heavyweight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And they fought
There's
at
history.
the Olympics. Yeah, and they fought in amateurs. Betterbiev had gotten the best of Usyk in one amateur bout. Like, there's history there. Like, they're both pushing 40.
Yeah, I was gonna say too. Like,
yeah, that'd be a cool fight. But anyway, give me your take on Betterbiev Bivol. Even though you gave it to Bivol, like a filthy casual. Let me know.
This is just your heart speaking out right now, because you even said like my heart says Betterbiev. And look, first of all, it was a great fight. It was exactly like we thought. It came down to like really destructive power. Because you could see, even though Bivol was like checking and blocking a lot of those strikes, you could tell like he was like, okay, like I need to keep this defense up, otherwise like one of those hits is just going to change the entire complexion of this fight. And it did seem a little bit like at times, like you said, that ring generalmanship. Betterbiev was cornering off at times, but there are also times where it did feel like Bivol was using his speed, his footwork, and his savvy to kind of bring Betterbiev in. And like he didn't always capitalize on it, but there were a few times where he would throw like a 5-6 strike combination where he'd like pull him in and then fire off this counter combination, and then backpedal out again. So it was very highly skilled to watch. And I think there's going to be a lot more like to watch it again and to really dissect and try to figure out, okay, if they do have an immediate rematch, much like Usyk and Fury, what sort of adjustments are they going to make? Because like another fight like this, it would be easy, like you said, to sway the judging the other way. So who's going to make the bigger adjustment right now? And what adjustment is that going to be needed? Is Bivol going to have to take more risks, basically, and open up a little bit more to try to score more on points, or to tag him more, work certain strikes that were having a little bit of an effect on Betterbiev? Or is Betterbiev just going to, I mean, he threw 682 punches. That's so much for a boxing fight. Like, so much.
Of their landed significant strikes, I think there was only a 4-punch differential. Like, it was an ultra close fight.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's exactly the thing. If they do a rematch, like the person who has the mandate to make adjustments is Bivol. And what is his adjustment be? You hinted kind of at it. Be more active and take more risks. Well, that just opens you up to Betterbiev being able to land harder on you. And it seemed like something where Bivol did land cleaner in a sense.
Yeah.
But when Betterbiev hit Bivol, it seemed to draw more of a reaction and shake Bivol's body more than when
Mm,
Bivol hit Betterbiev. So it's
yeah.
like, what do you? I don't know. I'm fascinated to see the rematch because it was such a close, like, technical fight, and any adjustment either guy makes opens them up so much to absorbing a shitload more damage than they had taken in this fight that it's like, right, like Betterbiev is this like marauding puncher who swarms people. He was extremely measured. He was mixing up his targeting. He was mixing up his timing. He kind of fought out of his skin in order to take Bivol, and Bivol fought as perfect a fight as he could muster. Like, what? They both brought their A games, and it was this
Yeah.
close. So, like, how do you bring your A plus game, and how does that change it in the rematch? That sounds amazing to me.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's yeah. So all these people crying robbery. It should have been Bivol, or this was a boring fight. Boxing is boring. Hey, go fuck yourselves. Go fuck yourselves. This was amazing. This was a great fight.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't think it was robbery. I think it was close,
yeah,
and like I said, just because I scored it slightly a different way, and that again, you look at any one of those close rounds, it could flop either way, or flip the other way there, and
mm-hmm.
yeah, I mean,
It could flip flop.
it can flip flop, yeah, but
Yeah,
but it was a very entertaining fight. It's a worthy fight of these two like very pedigreed and very accomplished boxers. And yeah, it'll just build up more for the rematch if that actually does happen.
God,
Um
I mean, I assume Saudi Arabia, as horrible as they are, will be able to muster up the cash for that, right?
yeah, I don't think
Um,
it's a cash thing. I think it's more of a like, do these fighters actually want to do this? Does it make sense for them?
bro,
Or
for a
or
$30 million payday, you don't think they would do it?
I don't know. Do they want to chase other bigger paydays, or maybe Betterbiev wants to fight, another person? Does he want to? Is he maybe chasing after, Usyk, or is, Benavidez, once he gets his next fight, will he want to try to challenge these guys again, or will
Nah,
either of
man.
them wait for them?
This is prize fighting. You go after the biggest prize. Betterbiev has to know he's almost 40. Like, he's got one or two big paychecks. Oh, I mean,
Okay.
generously, he has two. One left. What do you go for? And if Tricky Alashik is willing to throw out a bunch of money for this rematch, you got to take it.
I mean, prize fighting does mean, yes, the actual monetary prize, but also, maybe these guys are also looking for legacy. Like, what does it mean? What is their mark on boxing league? Because I mean, yeah, Betterbiev is coming up towards the last few years of his career,
Mhm.
and he's only you know, admittedly, because I have not followed boxing for that long, like I don't know what kind of fanfare he's had for the majority of his career.
He's had some fanfare mostly because of his knockout record. But I mean, this is the biggest payday by far. I mean, like you said, you didn't know these names really until this fight. It wasn't really until their last two fights. Bivol got the rub from fighting Canelo. Um, and Beterbiev just knowing that he was fighting Callum Smith gave him some rub, but like that this match was coming down has really given them a bolster to their names.
Yeah,
So it's got to be this has to be the rematch. Like, unless you could do Beterbiev Usyk because of the history between them and fighting maybe at cruiserweight for neither one of their belts, or even Beterbiev could go up to, he weighed 175 here. I mean, looking chiseled like a Greek god. Like, he could go up to 200 probably if he just didn't cut weight and like ate a little bit more. And then Usyk's what, 220? So he'd give up 20 pounds, which isn't crazy for heavyweight. But then that's probably it, right? You're gonna do that fight, maybe one more. Uh,
do you know if Usyk vacated the cruiserweight?
yeah, he vacated. He unified cruiserweight, and then he moved up to heavyweight and vacated
Okay.
all. And cruiserweight, I mean, Usyk created a weight in the same way that John Jones, for our MMA fans listening, created a wasteland at 205. Usyk created a wasteland at cruiserweight and then moved up to heavyweight. Right? He
Okay.
just destroyed everyone, and there was no one else, and there hasn't been any. So Beterbiev could do that, but that's not a big payday because there's no name at cruiserweight. He would have to get Usyk to come down.
Yeah.
But I think this fight's big enough to where there could be a rematch easily, and it would sell well, and they could each get a good payday. And then, like, look, if Betterbiev beats Bivol 2 times in a row, then it cements him, right? And if Bivol then beats Betterbiev, then you do a trilogy, and that's a huge payday. So I think that's probably what's gonna happen. Yeah, it was a great fight. God,
Yeah.
so good, so good. We have to talk about the 2 dirty pieces of this fight, though. Well, 3. 1, Saudi Arabia, but we all know that. 2, Betterbiev bringing in Ramzan Kadyrov into the ring after he won this fight. I know you didn't watch it. Ramzan Kadyrov. You know anything about Ramzan Kadyrov?
Nope.
He is the warlord from Chechnya who
yes,
rounds up gay people and throws them in jail and or executes them. We don't know. All his secret hush us. Bad man from Chechnya, who is kind of Putin's like, bodyguard or like trained, assassin guy. Betterbiev having to bring him in. It's rough. It's rough watching boxing and being like, oh yeah, there's a lot of shady characters that kind of float around the outside of the sport. And then Bivol, on a slightly lighter note, or more entertaining for us general public, his wife live streamed this fight with her reaction. His estranged wife, I should say, who has accused Bivol of being a deadbeat father and a terrible husband who abused her. And she was every round shouting her lungs off for Betterbiev to win and was so happy at the end when Betterbiev won. It was
yikes.
It is kind of grounding to remember that in fight sports, 99% of the time, the 2 coolest dudes are buddy with a Chechen warlord and a deadbeat husband and father. Yeah, what a bummer. But hopefully the rematch will be fun.
Is he actually a deadbeat husband and father?
That's what it sounds like. She's posted pictures of like black eyes she's had and bruising on her body, and that he kind of like has walked out on them. So I don't know. This is all according to her, but she's taking him to court for alimony payments and all that. So we'll see what happens. But yeah, would it surprise you if you learned that a professional,
of course not. No.
fighter was a deadbeat? Like that's kind of how it goes.
I mean, it's kind of one of the many like check boxes to become
a
fighter.
Yeah, it's kind of a prerequisite, right?
Yeah,
you gotta kind of be a piece of shit. But that doesn't take away from the fact that it was an amazing boxing match. It's one of the best boxing matches that has taken place all year. A year when we've had Terrence Crawford, Usyk, Inoue fight. I will give an amendment to what I had said last week, which was that the winner of this would probably take number 2 or 3 in my pound for pound rankings. Because this fight was so close and I could easily see it being a draw, I still have Betterbiev as my number 4 pound for pound. He couldn't supplant Inoue or Crawford. Yeah.
Okay.
Anyway,
and Usyk is still your number 1?
Absolutely. With a bullet.
Okay, good. Yeah. I'm just checking.
Yeah. And he's fighting in 2 months, baby.
God, yeah, that's... First of all, where the hell is this year gone? And second of all, super excited for that. Like,
yeah. Oh, so good, right? And like we might get this rematch 3 months later. Like, goddamn, boxing has been good to us. There's been a lot to eat, and it's tasty. It's been a good year. It's been a good year, man. Ugh. Anyway,
all right. Well, good.
Anything else to say about Betterbiev Bivol?
No. I mean, it is. Maybe I was overhyping it in my own head, like just thinking, like, okay, it's only going to end in 2 ways. If it goes to a decision, that means Bivol was able to outclass and outwork, it basically out-tactic Betterbiev. He just couldn't figure it out, Or if it ends earlier, it's because Betterbiev just blew up Bivol again. But it really was kind of a mix of both of those things, where using that destructive power to tactically corner someone, like, yeah, it was good. It was good. So
yeah, it was good. One other thing I want to call out, I can't remember who the fuck it was. McKinnon? Who was on commentary for this card?
Oh, I I don't know. I was not.
God, there was somebody on this card, not Timothy Bradley. I know he's been getting hate, but some McKinnon, some Englishmen. Absolutely garbage. There was in the very first round, Bivol lands a jab, and this guy, I can't remember what his name was. He fucking goes like, "Oh man, the jab is gonna really slow down Betterbiev." And like as he's saying that sentence, Betterbiev is throwing a 3-punch combination that all land against Bivol, and then it goes unremarked from the commentary team that these 3 punches land after the jab that supposedly was stopping Betterbiev from getting going. I heard it and I was irate. I was like, who allowed you to commentate? This is terrible. Like, it sounded like you had rote, like you're from the UFC video game. You have like a rote phrase that you're supposed to say when a jab lands, regardless of the context in which it is landing. It was atrocious. Anyway, yeah. Excited for this rematch. And if the rematch doesn't happen, I hope Betterbiev gets a fight with Usyk or goddamn dude Benavidez versus I can't remember what this other guy's name is, and it's I feel bad. I'm sorry, other man. Like you definitely might beat Benavidez, but Benavidez Betterbiev might be dope as well. Yeah, that's it's good. Boxing's good, man. It's good. I told you, especially at the heavier weights. It's been so rare that like boxing
that's the most
above
surprising thing.
yeah, 160 pounds has been good, but goddamn, it's good. It's good these past few years.
Good. All right. Anything else you have about your super fight that it lived up to all your expectations and everything? So,
okay, in the realm of best fights does this enter the top 5?
In the top 5 for this year, boxing and MMA, yes, I would say it's in the top 5.
Top 3.
Ooh.
Come on.
I'm trying to think about I'm thinking about just like all the fights that we've watched this year and what I'm thinking about what I see. Okay. What is like top most entertaining, top most what?
It's the best fights.
Well, okay, here's the thing. I loved watching Inoue style on people. I love watching Vasily Lomachenko come back, and this is just boxing, like,
but were those good fights?
They were good displays of those guys' skills where they just beat up their poor opponents, but I would not like this was actually like 2 people. So yeah, like if like with 2 people, both game, I would say it's either 3 or 4 for me.
Okay. That's acceptable.
Yeah.
It's definitely top 3 for me. It's it was a good fight. I thought it was a really good fight.
Yeah, I would have to take more time, and we'll probably do this at the end of the year where we'll count our like our top fights of the year or a bunch of other things, as a celebrate. But yeah, it was a great fight. It was really good. Like I'm not poo-pooing on your fight. I'm not saying that at all. Just because I had it for Bivol.
It's just a fight, man. And it was a good fight. It was a
very good
fight. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
All right, well, let's talk about the other good fight. Surprisingly good fight for Apex Slop. This was this was the cream of the Apex Slop. Tatsuro Taira versus Brandon Royval. First of all, how'd you score it?
3-2 Royval.
Any 10-8s in there?
I think it would have been close in the 3rd round when he got some of those knockdowns and things, but yeah, that's the thing. Like, because MMA scoring has changed a lot and they are more liberal with the 10-8, I would still lean that towards a 10-9.
Okay. Yeah.
Did you score it a 10-8?
I think it probably, if there's gonna be a 10-8 in MMA, we need to start using that more liberally. I think that's a good candidate with 2 knockdowns. That's like if 1 knockdown in boxing is a 10-8, I think 2 knockdowns in MMA should count. So yeah, I gave it to Royval. 3 rounds to 2, but one of those rounds being a 10-8.
Okay.
Well, tell me, what did you learn? What did you not learn? Let's be positive first off, though, because there's lots to be negative about. Yeah, tell me.
Well, even the negatives, I'm a little positive. So, okay, Royval, like, cementing himself as a top contender in the flyweight division. Like, he's he's not going away yet, which is good. But will he get another shot against Pantoja? Probably not, especially since they announced Pantoja's next opponent. But besides that, he's a good number one contender, number two spot in the flyweight divisions. And I thought he showed very not just like combination or like what'd you say? How'd you phrase it before? Leaf blower hand strike
blower offense.
Leaf blower offense, yeah. And part of it was, yes, punching in volume, but I think having a little bit more thump to his combination work. Now, part of that may have been Taira's lack of experience in dealing with combinations or lack of experience in just stand-up striking in general. I think that exposed more of his holes there, and we'll get to that later on. But
I think it was him exposing his holes in a derogatory sense that led to that leaf blower offense being better than it should have been.
Well, okay, you don't think that it was like you don't think he could actually have a decent stand-up exchange with other flyweights, minus Kai Kara France, who apparently just has small things of dynamite in his hands. Like, I mean,
I think
Urseg.
Royval has kind of, in that Simpsons episode where Bart starts swinging his, like windmilling his arms, and he goes, "If you get hit, I'm going to close my eyes and swing my arms, and if you get hit by it, it's your fault." That's kind of how I feel about Royval's offense, which is a little bit of an indictment on Tatsuro Taira for walking face first directly into some of it. But I think that's where a lot of the thump came in. It wasn't Royval like hitting hard.
But I think there is something to be said about having the ability to sustain multiple strike combinations. Because most MMA fights, the most you see in a combination is like 3 strikes. You know, when you can consistently string together 5, 6, 8 strike combinations, like no matter how good your defense is, eventually you're gonna get hit by something. It's like trying to outrun someone running backwards when they're running straight forward. Maybe you can keep up for the first few steps, but eventually they're going to run you over. So the fact that his skill set inherently has that, whereas other people don't, like, it is something to consider now. It is a skill that just like, hey, if someone can just routinely take you down, but maybe not even hold you down, you still have to be aware of that, those takedowns.
Yeah, you're right. Well, what about, let's be positive about Taira for a second, because I think there were positive things to take.
Yeah.
Tell me your positives from Taira.
Taira is 2 things. He's still young, so like he's got a long career ahead of him. He's 24. Royval is 31. Taira, as long as he's smart about it, he can really bounce back from this. This is kind of like what I was talking about before of how, hey, he's gonna be humbled at some point. He's gonna realize that, his 16-0 streak, which has been great and it should be, highlighted, like he is going to reach a level of competition that he's never faced before. And for better or for worse, he will learn for it. That is up to him right now. But I will say one positive thing is his wrestling is still top notch.
Yeah, boy.
And he is able to gain positions. He is able to sweep. He is able to chain things together so that suddenly, if you make one mistake, you are not only like in a bad position, but you are in a severely disadvantageous position. Like seeing how he uses his legs to like, get into that body triangle he had a body triangle and locked one of Royval's arms, kind of like what we talked about before with BJ Penn, but he was able to do that with a body triangle, which I've never seen before. So, I mean, it's just, it is impressive what he can do, now to be able to string that together with more striking to open up things like the submissions or just to get more damage done. That's going to be a big thing for Taira now of just improving the striking overall, both on the ground and on the feet.
Yeah, I think that's a super good point because I think that's kind of my 2 takeaways is, his stand-up has never been that good, but I think what he needs to really work on is he was running face first on straight lines into Royval striking a lot. And I will
Yeah,
say he
yeah.
kept his composure a lot of the time when he got rocked. Like this did show kind of veteran composure and savvy from a very young 24-year-old fighter. Like that's fantastic to see. But he needs to work on his defense and striking a little bit more. He needs to move his head. You know, he
Mhm.
needs he can't just run face first into these strikes. He has to move his head slightly. And then yeah, he was dominating so much in the grappling. Despite all of the scrambles that Royval was initiating, that it was like, man, if you just had some ground and pound in these positions, if you just knew how to actually use these positions to generate damage, I feel like he would
Yes.
have taken Royval out, but he didn't. He was so much about like and really cool when he got the back, getting the body triangle, and then kind of like pressing on the back of the neck with his forearm, and then like kind of like taking the other arm underneath the armpit and like pressing down on the neck. Something that must be extremely taxing for Royval. But Royval just has an insane gas tank, and so it's this thing of if a lot of your grappling is built to either get submissions or wear on your opponent. When you run into opponents with better gas tanks than you, it's not going to work. You have to generate damage. Um,
And that is always, and we talked about this before, that has been a big criticism of Japanese fighters. They, for some
yeah.
reason, their cardio training is not at the same level as some of these other fighters.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say Taira's like cardio was bad in this fight. It's just like
No, no.
a lot of his offense seemed based around like trying to tax Royval's gas tank, and that just wasn't going to work. He needed to generate more offense and more damaging offense in the positions that he got.
I will say Taira did look pretty gas on that third round. But then again, that was when he was getting beat up a lot.
Yeah,
So
but then he came
that
back in the fourth.
he did.
You
And
know?
is that just youth? When you're 24, you could do that?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, maybe. I mean, there were a couple of positions where he just like straight manhandled Royval. It was
Yeah.
a bigger, more physical grappler, and he's just like, "You're going to the ground, fucking now."
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
So yeah, I was very impressed by Taira, like his heart, his determination, his
Mhm.
composure under fire, and his grappling. I thought was phenomenal. It's just like he doesn't have enough offense on the ground to deal damage, and standing up, man, you can't be moving face firsts into Royval's jabs and his knees, like because there's not much mustard on those. So when you get knocked down because of them, it's because you flung your face
Yeah.
directly into that knee. You
You
know?
countered yourself.
Yeah, exactly. So it was another thing too of like Royval did what Royval does, but that doesn't make me think he can beat Pantoja, who's already beaten him twice.
Mm.
It doesn't make me think he can beat. I mean, I know he beat Moreno, but like if Moreno comes out with a halfway decent game plan next time, I don't see Royval beating Moreno.
Mm.
Like he beat Kai Kara France, but like will he beat him again? I don't know. He's he's one of these people where he's like mold. He just won't go away. And it's like, and I mean that like kind of in a positive and a negative of like he really is somebody that you have to put away, right? Otherwise, he will always be there and he will always be threatening with things.
Mhm.
But he also is not something that's like ultra potent or dangerous. He just hangs out for a long time. And if you have a weakness, he will expose it. But if you can kind of be defensively sound and have good offense, you should be able to get through him.
Mhm.
So, yeah. Royval called for a title shot after this. What do you think about that? Because he's on a 2-fight winning streak, and he just lost to Pantoja before that, who he had previously lost to in a pretty dominant, I think it was a 50-45
Oh,
match.
yeah.
It was a pretty one-sided fight.
Yeah, that's what everyone would do when you're ranked as high as he is. He's waiting for that number 1. I think him versus Kai Kara France though
Yeah,
might
that
be
could
pretty
be
good.
good. Yeah, that could be good. Yeah, maybe let him stick around depending on what happens with Pantoja's next fight. And if Pantoja loses, then you can throw Royval in because it's a fresh match. But if Pantoja wins, then maybe have him fight Kai Kara France. It's a good
Mhm.
call. Good call. What do you do with Tatsuro Taira?
So here's the thing. There's a couple of things with him. I want him to. I still want him to fight someone in the top 5, 7, whatever. There, I think that's good. It helps keep him relevant in this very competitive division. But I don't know, because most people have fights right now. So like we might have to wait until some of these guys kind of weed themselves out, I guess, right? Like, because because you said Brandon Moreno and Amir Albalzi are fighting, right?
Brandon Moreno and Amir Albalzi. Yep, they're fighting.
Yeah, Kaikar France doesn't have a fight yet, but I think him and Brandon Royval would be better.
Let me throw 3 names out there for you.
Give me.
Steve Urseg.
Yeah.
Coming off a loss to Kaikar France.
Yeah. That if Steve Urseg loses though to Tatsuro Taira, it would be easy for them to just cut Steve Urseg, which would be very detrimental to the division because he's pretty good too. But if he lost to Pantoja and Kaikar France and Tatsuro Taira, that's really hard to bounce back from,
Mm-hmm. How about Manal Kopp coming off that loss to Makayev?
Okay. Yeah, I could see that.
Okay. Or lastly, what about the fight that we were meant to get?
Oh,
Josh
Van. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I like that.
All right. Yeah.
That's a good one. Because
here's the thing. If Josh Van beats Tatsuro Taira, he can ascend properly to the place he's meant to be in the top 10. And if Tatsuro Taira wins, goddamn, that's a good bounce back win right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You could slow roll it. You could have Tatsuro Taira fight like Tagir Ulanbekov or Tim Elliott. But yeah, I think him versus Josh Van, that's a fucking fight I want to see, man.
Yeah, that would be good.
Yeah. I think that'd be good. Flyweight, man, it's a good division. As much as Dana White hates it, it's a fucking good division.
Oh, hey, you don't have to convince me, man. I'm with it.
Yeah. It's goddamn. Yeah, we've got because Brandon Moreno, Amir Albazi could be a title challenger. Brendan Royval could be a title challenger. Kaikara France could be a title challenger. Like we've got a good amount. We have to slow roll on Tatsuro Taira. Alex Perez coming off a loss. Mateus Nicolas coming off a loss. Like we're all losses then, but it's good. Anything else from this card?
I just the last thing with Tatsuro Taira. I hope he does like we talked about. Like Taira, listen to our podcast. All right. He needs to develop his striking. He may need to go outside of Japan for that. And that is a thing with Japanese fighters. They tend to stay very insular and just keep doing what they do. But
well, hold on. What does he need to improve? Give me 2 concrete things or areas he needs to improve in his striking, and I'll tell you 2 people in Japan that can help him with that.
Okay. Well, like you said, developing some defensive savvy with his striking, whether that's learning how to block and see strikes, head movement, whatever. Learning to see opposing strikes come in and deal with them without sticking his face directly into them.
Okay, you telling me Inoue can't, in his team, can't help him for 3 seconds figure out head movement in boxing?
You know what? Yeah. I didn't even think about that overlap. Okay.
Come on now. We got Inoue in the house. What else does he need to fix? Okay, so we got head movement and kind of defensive lapses in his striking. What else does he need to improve?
And just striking ability. Yeah, and Inoue has that in spades. So like,
yeah. Well, and if you need to add some kicks in, motherfucker, you got Tenshin Nasukawa in Japan. You've got one of the best kickboxers alive right now. Get in there. Take some kicking, Tenshin Nasukawa, and take some defensive classes with Inoue. Boy, howdy, you're ready to fucking go. Like I think Japan is. It's a fine market to be able to do this. Like he should be able. There are A+ level fighters, veterans, and prospects in kickboxing and boxing coming out of Japan right now. He seems to have focused so much on his submission grappling with his team, which I have to say, submission grappling, unorthodox, super interesting, super taxing for his opponents. This is phenomenal. So, like that, Just go bring one of those people in, and you should be able to do it.
Yeah.
Perfect. Great.
Good,
We figured
good.
it out for him.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's see if he does it then.
Yeah, exactly. Listen to our podcast. We have good ideas. Great. Did you watch anything else on this card?
I did not. No. Did I?
Okay.
Wait. Let me think. I may have watched a couple of the prelim fights.
Alex Morono, Daniel Rodriguez.
Let me pull up this card again. Hold on. Give me a second.
Did you watch the Iron Turtle split decision?
Yes, I think I did actually. Yes, so let me see these here. Yes, I did see Park Jun-young Park get his split decision. Daniel Rodriguez, I don't think I saw that one. I also didn't see Grant Dawson. I saw parts of the Njokuni and Jared Gooden fight as well. So really only the last three. I mean,
good, bad.
Yeah, I mean, entertaining, all right, I guess, but
all right.
Yeah. How'd you score actually the Jun-young Park and Brad Tavares fight?
I did not watch that shit. I watched the two main events, and I watched my boy Alex Morono, the most unathletic man, lose.
Oh, right.
Yeah, that was it. But I have to say, in the pantheon of best MMA fights you've seen this year, is Royval Taira in the top 10 or the top 5?
Top 10 for sure. But MMA fights, oh boy, there's been a lot of stuff, a lot of bad stuff, but
mostly bad.
Mostly bad. So yeah, maybe that does. I mean, well, okay, is it in the top 5 for you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, what are your top 5 fights then?
Well, okay, so you got Khalil Roundtree versus Alex Pereira. That's definitely in there.
Yeah.
You definitely have, again, Gaethje and Holloway was very one-sided, so it's not as good of a fight, but it definitely was a good fight.
It was, yeah.
Yeah. I enjoyed, for as long as it lasted, the Holloway and Topuria fight.
And then I thought the Volkanovski Topuria.
Oh, sorry, yes, Volkanovski Topuria.
Yeah,
oh man, a little preview of what I've been thinking about. And I think Makhachev and Dustin Poirier was pretty good as well.
Makhachev Poirier was really good.
Yeah.
I also though really liked Pantoja and Steve Ursay because
that's true.
That was a good one. I did like Tatsuro Taira versus Alex Perez as well.
But it wasn't as good as this one. This one was back and forth. There was a ton of different things we saw. We learned so much more.
Yeah. No, but it was the first time that I saw like Taira use his like we saw that his wrestling was always very strong, but this was like a new level of wizardry going on here. Like I'd seen like dominance from him, but not like, ooh, this is like really creative, and most people like won't be able to deal with just the creativity, or they'll like be like really, really taken advantage of because of it.
Yeah, man. Level 3 took transmutation as a specialty. It happens.
There you go.
Yeah.
That was a deep D&D reference right there.
I don't know how deep it is. D&D is pretty mainstream now. That's pretty. That's like making a Marvel reference and being like, "I'm such a nerd." It's like, nah. But maybe for the people that listen to MMA podcasts, that's the nerdiest shit they've ever heard. Anyway, Royval, Taira, Betterbiev, Bivol. I mean, what a great weekend. For 2 great fights. And we've got another doubleheader coming up this weekend. But before we get to that, we've got 3 other things to talk about. Number 1, did you see the UFC 310 announcement?
I did, yes.
Fantastic. What I want you to do is give me an A through F grade on each one of these fights that I read off to you.
Okay, wait. As a whole or just the individual?
Individual fights.
All right. Okay, and what is the grading criteria? Like A, like it's going to be entertaining. B, or like it's good for the it's what the matchup we all want to see. Like what? Give me some parameters.
Just let the spirit move you.
Okay.
Whatever's an A for you, whatever's an F for you.
Okay. All
right. For the welterweight title, Bilal Muhammad against Shavkat Rakhmonov. What do you think?
A.
That's an A fight. Goddamn right, that's an A fight.
Yeah, poor Bilal. Goddamn.
For the flyweight title, Alexandre Pantoja against Kai Asakura.
I think that, I mean, based on what we've been talking about, I love it. I think that's also if not an A, like high B plus there. Mostly because I think people won't know who Kai Asakura is.
Yep, I'm right there with you. This is yeah. If this isn't an A, this is definitely a B plus. It's right there.
Yeah,
for a title shot. This is super exciting. Kai Asakura, kind of limited, but goddamn, I'm excited for this fight.
Yeah. And it adds, again, we were just talking about how dynamic and exciting the flyweight division is, and now you just throw some more spice on top of it.
Yeah, awesome. Perfect. Ugh, delicious. Now, we have to go to heavyweight, unfortunately. Cyril Gane against Alexander Volkov.
I think like a C or B minus.
Yeah, a B minus is generous. This is
Yeah.
a C fight. But what it does set up is if Cyril Gane beats Alexander Volkov, we might get a Tom Aspinall versus Cyril Gane fight next.
Yeah.
For the undisputed title.
Would you be more excited for Tom Aspinall versus Cyril Gane or Tom Aspinall versus Alex Pereira?
I would be most excited for Cyril Gane versus Alex Pereira.
Oh, wait, what? Door number 3?
Door number 3. I think stylistically, Cyril Gane versus Alex Pereira has more question marks and would possibly be more exciting than Tom Aspinall versus Alex Pereira.
Okay.
Because Tom Aspinall, we know, is a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, grew up actually being a grappler before becoming a striker. Yep. And when he chose to take down Alexander Volkov, a big, tall, 6'9", 260-pound man, he took him down like he was a baby. So I feel like he'd be able to take Alex Pereira down super easily and choke him out. Cyril Gane, on the other hand, has the grappling of a baby. I feel like it's a striking match between Alex Pereira and Cyril Gane. And Cyril Gane with that kind of in and out point fighting style against Alex Pereira. That's fucking interesting to me, man.
Okay.
That's interesting.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. So we went from an A to a B plus to a C. Bummer. Now we have to get to the worst fight. Hold on.
Oh yeah.
Here it comes. Vicente Luque versus Nick Diaz.
Yeah. F.
F. That's exactly fucking right. People are all this is the star power on the card. This is what's carrying the card so far. Blah, blah, blah. Dude,
wait, who is saying that?
I'm talking about low-level, low-information voters breathing out of their mouth, eating plain yogurt on fucking Twitter. Just the lowest dredges of society. People with face tattoos, people with neck tattoos that says, like honor across their throat. Shut the fuck up. Vicente Luque versus Nick Diaz is a dog shit fight. But here's my question. Should this fight be Nick Diaz versus Tony Ferguson?
Oh my god. You just want to see two old retired men just...
But would that not be a closer, more evenly matched fight than Vicente Luque versus Nick Diaz?
I mean, sure, yeah. It's also like, if this is an F fight, then that's like an F plus fight. Like,
all right, yeah, it's bad. So get that out of your mind. We're going back to featherweight, the division of kings. Here it comes. Movsar Evloev versus former 135 champion Aljamain Sterling. What's the grade?
I would say B minus. I think it's not going to be like super like, like stand and bang, like crazy fireworks like that. I think it's going to be a lot of like, it's going to be a grappling match, like you said, and it's going to be a lot of like switching, a lot of, like scrambling for positions, and like the occasional like strike that's thrown to give them something to think about. But it's mostly going to be a heavy grappling affair, like a jockeying for position and maybe a submission attempt or two.
Yeah. No, I agree. A B fight, a B plus fight. That's a good fight.
Yeah.
Our featured prelim, Anthony Smith versus Dominic Reyes. What do you think?
Oh boy. Anthony Smith is one of those guys who we've said, like, what fighter is going to come out? And who the fuck knows what's going to come out with him, you know? Dominic Reyes got a very much needed win, you know, after his four fight losing streak, and he came back with a nice
needed.
Yes, much needed. And yeah, I mean, this will be kind of the same thing, you know, like what, you know, I'm hopeful that this is kind of a resurgence of Dominic Reyes' career. It does kind of suck that if it is, he has to take it out on Anthony Smith. But so either A, I'm going to be sad that, like, oh man, like one of these guys did not perform at the level they could, and they lost like in a really bad way, you know, because the other one like knocked the other guy out, or it's going to be kind of just a sloppy back and forth affair when neither one of them is really showing like great standout ability.
Yeah, I agree.
Oh yeah, I would also give it like a C plus.
That's a C minus in my mind, a C minus. So overall, what do you grade this final pay-per-view of the year?
Holy shit, is this the final pay-per-view of the year?
Yeah, boy.
Oh, it is December 7th. God damn. Yeah, I mean, I do like that they're giving Flyweight, you know, a main slot card on this like marquee event, so that's good. I would give
they're giving it a co-main slot.
Co-main, you know, I'll take it though. I'll take it.
Okay.
You know, you got to work your way up there, but you know, I would give it like a high B plus.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a pretty good card. I've seen some people being kind of down on it, but I think it's a pretty good card overall.
Yeah.
Exciting. That welterweight title shot is, I mean, Shavkat Rakhmonov, that boy's good, man. And Kaya Sakura, that guy's good too. Like these should be good fights. I like it. I think it's a fine card. I could do without the Nick Diaz and Vicente Luque, but I guess they're gonna have to kill Nick Diaz in front of us. So better that it be on a pay-per-view than at an Apex, right?
Yeah, I mean that the Vicente Luque, Nick Diaz, and Anthony Smith and Dominic Reyes, like both those fights, I'm not really like, aside from the fact that, hey, I'm concerned about these individuals. Like whoever wins these fight, it doesn't, again, back with my canonical order, it doesn't do much to move the divisions forward, whereas all the other ones do. They all set up like important things are going to happen in these divisions.
Yeah, it means nothing to the fans. All it means is one of them gets 50% more money than they would have gotten with a loss, which is a bummer. Fuck. All right. Well, that's 310, man. A good card, I thought. Pretty good card. We've been eating good this year. It's been delicious.
I'm nervous though. I'm nervous what that means for next year. What the fuck is 2025 gonna?
I mean, we might get Connor coming back, which segues quickly, very, very quickly. Conor McGregor versus Dan Hooker. They both were at a BKFC event in Spain. Conor McGregor sounding like he was, enjoying some nose beers. And McGregor and Hooker both hinting that they might fight in February. Only two questions. Not about if you care, not about if Conor will show up, because we know he's not going to fight. But if Conor McGregor did in a hypothetical world, is Dan Hooker the right opponent for his comeback?
I mean, okay, what does a comeback mean?
Just one more fight back. Is this the fight you'd want to see Conor McGregor at? Is this the right way to manage his career?
It doesn't seem like Dan Hooker is Conor McGregor is really doing anything to, like, he's just taking big payday fights, which is like, sure, he's beaten the game. That's what he can do there,
Yeah.
And like, what is Dan Hooker doing this to raise his stock within a certain division? Like, is he just doing it for a big
155? Payday? You don't think beating Conor McGregor immediately gets you the pay-per-view notoriety to go to a title shot?
I don't know. Would it be at 155 or would he go up to 170?
Nah, I'd probably be 155. Fuck, it might be
I don't know.
170. Who cares? Like, beating Conor McGregor means that you basically you get so much rub off of beating Conor McGregor. Like, you get so much like eyeballs and shine off of that you can kind of call your shot.
Yeah.
So is Dan
Yeah,
Hooker the right guy?
I mean, there will definitely be some fucking trash talk between the two, so that'll help sell the fight, but like I feel like the ship has sailed, It's really like it's like you said, everyone is calling out Conor McGregor because one, they know it's a big payday, but two, they now know like, okay, I think I could beat this guy.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not that like it still doesn't okay. If Dan Hooker beats Conor McGregor, it's kind of the thing is like, yeah, you should beat Conor McGregor. He hasn't done anything, and like he hasn't been fighting. You've been staying active and things like, but if you lose to Conor McGregor, it's like, okay, like that's not gonna help your stock either. That's really gonna like tank you down, So like
But then Conor McGregor has a win over a number 5 lightweight, so he can immediately challenge for the title.
is that what we want though? Do we want like
I don't know. What I want is fucking Betterbiev and Usyk to fight. I don't give a shit about this. I'm in a whole other stratosphere, man.
I know.
I'm talking about UFC's 155 division. What do you think? Is this the right call?
I mean,
I'll give you the right answer. The answer is no. What they should do is re-sign Nate Diaz and have him and Connor fight for a third time, and then let them both sail off into the sunset.
Yeah. Okay. Sign Nate to one fight.
One fight or 2 fights.
Okay.
Fuck it.
Okay.
Right? Let them both fight, and then on their final fight each, you feed them 2. Nate Diaz wants the Leon Edwards rematch. Let him have that, and then let Connor fight Michael Chandler and get flatlined.
Yeah.
If McGregor, the other question I had was McGregor Hooker. If they actually do fight, who do you favor to win?
Dan Hooker. If it's the
Absolutely.
same, it's the same Dan Hooker that came out last fight. Yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
Actually, even if it's not, like, yeah, I still favor Dan Hooker.
I know, because Connor hasn't won a fight in 5 years, and he hasn't fought in 3. Like, and we've seen what he's been doing because it's been one of the most viral things in MMA. Like,
yeah.
Anyway, we had to touch on that slightly.
Yeah.
Because everyone's talking about it. I see one other note in our document here.
Did you see the idea floated around of this BMF tournament? One night, 4 people, and 2 fights each. Like, one, that's like a throwback to the old MMA kickboxing days, which I fucking love. And 2, it's very fitting for a BMF title. Like,
yes,
if you're gonna be the BMF, then yeah, you're gonna fight twice in one night. Like, who else can say that? Like, that's a pretty sweet idea. Will any athletic commission buy into that? Probably not. But I just love the idea because I think the people they said too would be Max Holloway, Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, and Dan Hooker.
Now, okay, so first of all, how would you match up that bracket, and then who would you pick to win?
Oh, well, okay. I think it'd have to be Dustin and Max, and then Justin Gaethje versus Dan Hooker.
And who do you pick to win?
Whoever wins between Dustin and Max.
And that's got to be Dustin.
You say it's Dustin?
Yeah. We've seen Max fight Dustin 2 times, and
that's not going well.
Like, and as much as everyone's like, well, look at Max and what he did to Justin Gaethje. Look at the game plan that Justin Gaethje put into place, and look at the game plan Dustin Poirier put into place, and look at the difference in their striking. Like, Dustin beats Max, I think, pretty convincingly. It's a cool idea. It feels like Bloodsport. It feels like Kumite. But
I love it. I want it. Mortal Kombat.
I know in professional MMA, basically no athletic commission, maybe Florida, maybe Texas, will let you fight more than 5 rounds in a single night. So you might have to do 2 rounds for the first fight and then 3 rounds after. But what if like somebody gets really hurt?
And then
I think it's a cool idea if you're gonna do like the BMF belt and keep it around. Do BMF tournaments or like do something where like kind of old action fighters in a division who are kind of out of the running for a title, like Justin Gaethje, like Dustin Poirier. Dan Hooker's kind of in title contention, but like he already lost to Islam Makhachev really easily, really convincingly. Like he's kind of out of the running. And Max Holloway, let's say if he loses to Ilia Topuria, that's a fun way to keep that belt kind of interesting and not holding up the rest of the division.
Yeah.
So that is a cool idea. I don't mind that at all. I'd love to see any kind of variation of those fights. If we get Dustin versus Dan Hooker again, or Justin Gaethje versus Dan Hooker, fuck, that fight would be awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'd love it. That sounds great. That sounds awesome. But they're not going to be able to do it in one night. Those old school days of like, let's just have people fight for an hour and 75 minutes is in like it's not gonna happen. It's not gonna happen.
No. Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So, yeah. Anyway, but we've got, I think, kind of like the calendar set for the rest of the year.
Yeah. We do.
October kicked off. Look, 307. Was it the best card? No, but the main event slapped. And then we got Betterbiev Bivol and Royval Taira afterwards. That's not bad. And this coming week, we have the only PFL fight card ever worth watching and a pretty decent UFC Apex card. So join us next week. I think what we should do, Colin, is we should each pick who we think will win the main and co-main of both cards, the UFC Apex card and the PFL card, and then each one of us choose a wild card fight to pick.
So 5 fights total.
1, 2. Oh no, we should each. Yeah, hold on.
You said the main event and co-main event for both of these fights, and then one.
Yep. And then one wild card. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that's what we should do.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, I think that's good because like coming up, we've got a pretty decent Apex card with middleweight and bantamweight and flyweight and fuck, there's a heavyweight fight on there, and then we've got the return, finally, after all these years, the return of the lineal UFC heavyweight champion Francis Ngannou, which the PFL has not advertised that fact at all. Have you seen any advertisements, banner ads? Like I know on the Betterbiev Bivol, I saw one ad for it, but I have not seen any advertising for this PFL card.
I have not seen anything.
It's like their big heavyweight fight. Francis Ngannou coming back, the guy who beat the actual lineal heavyweight champion. Right? John Jones isn't the lineal, Tom Aspinall is not. And they're not advertising that fact at all. I have no idea what they're doing. It's almost like they don't care if their business goes under. Anyway, but we will be talking about that fight. We'll be talking about Colin's wildcard pick for Fight of October, which was Anthony Hernandez and Michelle Pereira.
Oh, yeah.
We'll be talking about Chris Cyborg coming back. We'll be talking about Larissa Pacheco, Rob Font versus Kyler Phillips, and then whatever other fights you and I decide to pick.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's a good fight weekend. And then after that, man, Topuria Holloway.
Oh yeah.
This is a good fucking dude. It's a good month. I know we were kind of down after that first UFC card, mostly because of Pena and Bennington, but overall, you know what? This month is doing pretty good for the first 2 weeks.
2 weekends, yeah,
it's been pretty good. Yeah, because I'll say it. I think we got the number 2 best boxing match of the year in these 2 weeks, and we got the number 1 and number 2 best MMA fights of this year in these 2 weeks.
You're talking about number 1 being Holloway and Topuria, and 2.
Oh no! Of fights that have actually happened, I think Taira Roundtree and Taira Royval are the best 2 fights I've seen this year in MMA.
Oh, this year? Okay.
Yeah,
I see what you're saying. So
we got 3 of the top 5 best fights this year
in a 2-week span. Yeah,
in a 2-week span, man. Come on now, that's not bad.
No,
and we
that's
have
good.
Michelle Pereira still fighting. We have a Carney fighting. We have Francis Ngannou coming back. Like Hamzat Chimaev might come back. Ilia Topuria and Max Holloway. Like fuck. This is gonna be Can you feel
Oh,
it?
yeah.
The plums, they're excited.
Yeah,
Um,
I can feel them all the way down here.
yeah. Gross. All right. Yeah, it's good. It's good. And then 310 is good. We know in December, and we also have Usyk Fury 2 in December. Dude,
Mhm.
eating good this year.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, this has been Two Fight Fans podcast. I'm One Fights fan, Stuart.
I'm the other Colin.
Yeah, join us on Friday. We're going to be picking those 5 fights, 2 from the Apex, 2 from the PFL card, and then 1 wild card each. And yeah, we will see. Hopefully, I win because boy howdy, I've been sucking ass recently. Yeah. Though my heart was right. I'm gonna go with my heart. Betterbiev, I was right in my heart this time, so I'm gonna
Yeah.
go with it on these picks.
Plum picks, baby.
Plum picks. That's the way. That's the way to go. All right, everybody.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.